In the bottom right, as the blue Protoss, we now have Storm Gaming's MaxPax. In the top left, we have Storm Gaming's Spirits. And this is the biggest PvT challenge. The biggest TvP challenge yet for Spirit. There we go. For MaxPax, his biggest PvT challenge is going to be Clem, of which it does seem like Clem will be making it to the finals. He is 1-0 against Raynor at this point. So I am predicting a MaxPax Clem finals for the third week in a row. It happens. They are the standout players of their race in this region. And I would say MaxPax is the standout Protoss amongst all regions, actually. It's just that he doesn't play offline, so it is very difficult to truly place him in the midst of, like, the Korean Protosses as well. But I really don't think it's a stretch, actually. If y'all are watching online tournaments, and some of the bigger ones as well, not just these weekly ones, you know that MaxPax is performing some of the best out of all the Protosses that are available. And it's just a matter of getting the guy offline, sorry, and then maybe working on his nerves and stuff offline. Because that will be a different beast, initially. And with so few chances to even play offline, if MaxPax were to start, it would maybe take a while for him to get used to it. So that will complicate matters as well. But now when it comes to online, this is wheelhouse. He is the best performing Protoss player. And it's cool. But it makes me a little sad. Just because I like Hero. And at one point, Hero was the hero of the Protoss race. And it was so poetic. He was a hero. You get it? Hero? Hero of the Protoss race? You get it? Saying MaxPax, saying he's the Maxius Paxis of the race, just like doesn't work, man. No, but seriously, MaxPax leads the way more than others. And he doesn't necessarily lead the way in terms of providing a brand new composition, new build order. It's just that he does his things really well. And Spirit has had trouble against him, again, besides the balanced patch tournaments, which really does not count. MaxPax has a huge win streak against the guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0 in the last 7 matches. Before that, Spirit did win 2-0 in an open cup. And then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15. There's a 15 win streak before that one win. So, you know what I'm saying is, Spirit's definitely the underdog. 100%. And has let an Adept into his main base, which has now killed 2 SCVs. It's working on the 3rd. It's delaying the production. All while Spirit had opened up double Reaper. That sucks. Yeah, it's not the thing that changes the game so that, Protoss wins, I guess. But it's definitely not a good feeling. Got entirely scouted. Your build was interrupted a little bit in terms of the production. It was also interrupted in terms of the Reapers. They're used defensively instead of offensively. They're providing no pressure to the opponents. The opponent pressured you with very little commitment. It's crazy. It's cray-cray. MaxPax already kind of, feels like he's already inserted a knife. And now he's just waiting for Spirit to, like, walk forward. Into it. Like, come on, just attack me, come on. It's grim, I know, but that's how I feel. MaxPax, he kind of looks to Clem to really challenge him the most. And as he is on his way to facing Clem, is probably trying to play some of the most perfect PvT possible. I mean, that's always his ambition, right? It's a pro gamer, but it's really who he's thinking of matching up against. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to have these final matches over and over and over again, that it really does become a rivalry. A rivalry worthy of such consideration. Like, this guy's not thinking about the guy he's facing now, he is only thinking about the guy he's facing next, Clem. Could happen. Spirit is doing a combat shield attack, and it is an all-in. I mean, effectively, I suppose I should say it's an all-in. It really needs to do a lot of damage before it is worthwhile. The combat shields add that health to the Marines, but without stim, they're not particularly mobile, and their DPS isn't that impressive. It's really about their coverage of the tanks, so it's, you know, supposed to be synergistic. One immortal gets taken down for one tank, which, you know, would actually be complicated if it wasn't for MaxPax having a second immortal already out. Second shield battery as a backup as well as the first one does get taken down. I mean, MaxPax was able to determine Spirit's plan fairly early on. Is still having some trouble with it. Definitely not the most common build anymore. They've existed. This was actually a popular build back on Moondance, but not popular much at all anymore. And MaxPax maybe mishandling it. He still has time to work with, though. A gateway will fall, but more shield batteries. A Colossus is on the way. The Immortal, however, is being jumped upon. Shield battery to help out. That one Zealot was going to live forever until it ran out of range of it. And that Colossus is going to be a godsend against the Marines, but not so much against the tanks. But take those tanks out of the equation with the Phoenix. There you go. Bob's your uncle. Colossus needs a focus fire on the Marines, of course, but there you have it. That's exactly what it does after momentarily targeting the SCV build in the bunker, which did not die. And I thought that's what it was target firing, but maybe another SCV jumped on top. So the bunker does finish. It's a little more complicated, but with the Colossus still alive and intact, the third Nexus actually being planted down, we can see that MaxPax is brimming with confidence. He knows he's got this, even using his 4 kind of measly Protoss units to take down a very healthy tank. It is just the bunker and a handful of stimless Marines to stop MaxPax from actually busting out and taking care of the reinforcements. Phoenix constantly checking to see if there are reinforcements, what do they consist of, and now it's kind of more about stopping that tank from getting into an abusive position. Which, at this point, is not even that abusive. 2 Colossus finally able to power down that bunker. I mean, they could target the SCV again, but yeah, whatever. Whatever, it'll work. More SCVs coming forward, however. 2 Colossus and a couple of Stalkers finally busting that down, and that was the last hurrah of Spirit. MaxPax not mishandling that after all. Deals with the little bit of cheese, and sends us into game 2. In the bottom left, we have MaxPax up a game. In the top right, it is Spirits, going for a rare build nowadays. Combat Shield, 2-base tank push. Had some promise. But I think what was really crucial was that MaxPax saw it in advance, figured it out. Wasn't completely blind to the possibility, just because it doesn't happen that often. Had a couple of shield batteries, not just one. And then was so close to having 2 Immortals out for the push that kind of worked out anyway. Even though one went down before the other one popped out, it did trade for that tank. It is very, very different if that tank isn't traded. If the last SCV drilly hole into the tank repaired it just enough, or however the hell they're doing it, and then the tank gets repaired up totally, I mean, that's how a snowball starts. And even with the tank actually killed, it is very concerning to see an Immortal get taken down, especially as the Terran encroaches on your natural and where the Robo is producing. But that's why the second Immortal, basically almost very close to being done with the first Immortal, was so important. And something that he probably knew was on the way too, so he knew to make that move, to make that sacrifice. And Colossus getting up to that robotics bay can be a difficult decision to make in the midst of a battle. There is one thing for sure, as soon as you recognize the type of build that Spirit was doing, you do have flashbacks to all the defenses you made back when it was in more meta play on the old map pool. MaxPax had to deal with a lot of Terran players looking to kill him nice and early, with even earlier tank pushes, actually. So he is, he's definitely had some practice against it, just kind of had to recall that practice, and yeah, won out. Spirit's not done with his tricks, though. That's Combat Shield tank push. Might not have won him game number 1, but he is going to try something a little bit different. Game number 2, still very aggressive. Proxy starport. Wait, Proxy factory. Oh, factory in the rafter. That is a factory, because we're only 2.5 minutes into the game. And it was a command center, not a total 1-base build. This is awkward, however. Zealot pops over on the other side of the map. 2 Marines are about to join, and 3 Marines is what you need. Brood War and StarCraft 2. You can watch them dance. Dance, fool! And it's just a matter of whether or not you save all your SCVs at a certain point, which so far so good, but the Adept wants to come in and start one-shotting the SCVs that were injured from earlier. That's how it goes. But it was not good enough, and the Adept probably should not have shaded in, actually. It doesn't even stop the bunker from producing. Spirit so far with the good handling of the situation. Little supply block only because the command center was interrupted. And he is proxy factorying, as well as proxy starporting. I have a command of the English language that is unmatched. But seriously, this is going to be a Hellion drop, no matter how you slice and dice it. MaxPax not able to get the scouts because of the proxy factory. Otherwise, you would want that on the reactor, and it'd be very, very scoutable. As soon as you see a factory with a reactor, you got to be wary of a medevac drop. But you do it this way, and they are never sure about what you're doing. But you do dedicate a couple of crucial production facilities to the attack, especially that factory, which would be what gives you tanks or cyclones to defend whatever the guy is doing. And when it's MaxPax, well, that particular guy is often going for a 4-gate, and that's exactly what he's doing here. So I don't think it's a question of whether or not Spirit gets damage done, as 3 Hellions get dropped off. The main base is looking awfully tempting. It's a matter of how he can defend. 6 probes going down. Actually, this 1 Hellion trapped stops the combination, the 3-shot effect. Little awkward, I guess. Maybe kind of worked out. 2 Hellions live. Very, very injured. Overall, 13 probes did die, but Spirits can defend back at home. Factory and Starport on their way back. Gonna be a long time before they're producing something important. And Spirits should be figuring out that this is, in fact, a 4-gate build. He's actually getting a missile turret in the natural, which is a little weird. I wonder if he momentarily doubted if it was a DT drop or 4 gates. But he also could just be stopping the Warp Prism from collapsing in with the Stalker Blink. I could definitely see that being something that's been helpful against this push in the past. And that's something it will do. You know, whether or not it was its intention, that is definitely something that it will do. And oh wow, this is actually really old school. Back in the day, there was a person was made fun of for suggesting a sensor tower against a 4-gate, and then a professional player did it, and everyone validated the guy. Kind of laughed it off. But the sensor tower is interesting. I'm not sure it's going to help out as much as would be preferable, considering the lack of production that Spirit has had. That's kind of it's still the real problem. But the sensor tower does provide information as to where MaxPax is headed. And the bio counts is actually pretty healthy already. Decent amount of Marines, couple of Marauders, and the Stalkers are not trade out as efficiently as they would have liked earlier on, but that was thanks to also an SCV pool. 10 SCVs have gone down, and more to come as 4 Stalkers and a Warp Prism can do a world of hurts. I mean, they could get up to 6 SCVs killed. Easily. As there's no Cyclone to stop them, there's no tank to defend the zone of SCVs, right, sieged up. This is the abuse that MaxPax will deliver upon you when you do not have those units. 14 SCVs in total has somewhat made up for the damage, but only somewhat. Again, it's later on in the game, so you really need to do even more worker kills than your opponent did to you. And just the economies of the way Protoss and Terran work, right? So a 2 worker difference is not enough for MaxPax to feel comfortable. He also did not see this medevac just going right through it, just threaded the needle. Threaded the needle. Right through the 2 Stalker balls. That was very dangerous, but hey, sensor tower, man. Big brain. And the Marines take a very conservative path forward as they fully unload before entering into the main or the natural. They do manage to just go ahead and run on in. No opposition. Recall is going to have to be used. That's already a fantastic drop, rush in, whatever you want to call it. 8 probes and a recall. Getting the Stalkers off your back. Which they weren't doing very much more, I would say. The bio count's now considerable. A tank out and the bunker is still intact. The Stalkers weren't finding very much more. But still. 8 workers, that alone was already pretty freaking good. And that Nexus is on the way for MaxPax, but, you know, definitely at the time which you'd usually want it. Missiles are also good versus ops. It's true. You know, a lot of times MaxPax will freely put his observer right here, for instance, which the missile would detect, even if it couldn't hit. Very, very true. MaxPax back on the offensive. Of course, not going to find much damage, but that's not the point anymore. He knows that. The point is just be tracking the bio army. When the Stalkers are pulled out of position and the Terran is allowed to walk across the map, no problem. They really add a lot of strength to the push. The Stalkers are supposed to be doing this. And that's why I like Stalkers. Here's my, like, you know, 5th grade essay. Why I like Stalkers. I think they're pretty, and they have a cool ability, and I think their skill cap is super high. And that's what one of the features that makes MaxPax really good. But also his insistence on harassment. I mean, more annoying than other Protosses, believe it or not. That's weird. I don't think he meant to do that. I think he meant to hold position to kill the SCVs, but he killed the command center. That was weird. More importantly, the defense. 2 Colossus are out, 1 about to be gunned down. However, no shield battery to save that one. However, that cost quite a lot of, let's say, DPS. You know, the bio moved away from protecting the tank. It did put all of its DPS on top of 1 Colossus to a success. It killed it. But that means 1 Colossus still alive, tank taken down, a decent number of Stalkers to help support it, but that drop, I guess, went back in and is going to kill 10 more probes. Spirits playing really, really well. Definitely should win this game. I think that was apparent as soon as his defense was fine against the 4-gate, then that was very much Spirit-sided. But MaxPax is a way they could doubt it. So even after a total of 34 probes have been killed in this game, MaxPax is going to give it the old college try. Shield body overcharge, not going to save the Colossus. That last volley did the trick. And the 3rd Colossus was a little late to the party. Now the Nexus could be under fire, or just the game could be over very soon. Their tank comes up to help and anchor the push. Going to be taken down, though. Actually, really no problem. Stalker's healthy enough to engage that, and 1 Colossus still helping defense overall. Spirit also getting a little low on the health, because he doesn't have that many medevacs. War Prism still threatening Spirits, who's, I think, accidentally left 2 medevacs at home. That's a big contribution to your defense. That is huge. Yeah, probably not worth, is what I'm trying to say. He needs medevacs on the front lines. The original, the OG medevacs are tired, out of energy, literally. And MaxPax has managed to survive. He's not necessarily thriving, but he is doing the thing. He's doing the thing where it makes you doubt that 34 probes is enough to actually kill the guy. You're not supposed to be doubting that. Zealots were set up for a run-by. A little combination, too, with the main base. I mean, MaxPax is predictable for sure. Like, it's actually kind of inarguable. Like, he does a lot of things the same, but it's the insistence upon them which can be surprising. Speaking of insisting to go across the map and try and abuse your Colossus range against someone who has that many medevacs and that many Marauders, surprise, surprise, did not go very well for the Protoss, who is desperately trying to back away with at least 1 Colossus intact. It will not be so. Every last Colossus gets taken down. However, Spirit also taking a lot of damage to the Zealot drop in the main base. 30 SCVs have gone down. The Zealots did actually engage upon the 3rd as well, meaning Spirit is borderline all in. The good news is MaxPax gave him the best opportunity to be all in possible. Being aggressive like that, I guess unbeknownst to MaxPax, the number of Marauders and medevacs was actually higher than he expected. He has maybe made a very crucial mistake. No Colossus to work with. Okay, 1 just popped out, but 2 tanks now anchoring this push in a very abusive position as well. This is actually a disaster for the Protoss. They have put Spirit down to 30 workers, but you know, MaxPax is not about to be better off here. He's going to lose his probes on the 3rd base. His 4th base did finish, but they're not going to actually get the probes over there. So it's not mining very much. Upgrades favorable for the Terran have been for a very long time. MaxPax threw away too much. I mean, the aggression did distract Spirit, so that's why the SCVs got slaughtered in such a way, but I would say half the committal on the offense, half the workers killed, still a better situation for MaxPax, you know? If he only lost half of his army because he was a little bit shyer about actually pushing in, he was like, no, I really don't want to do this. Maybe he only kills 15 SCVs instead of 30. I'd still think it'd be better for MaxPax. The cost of that distraction was way too high. And there was a couple other things, you know, he probably thought Spirit would be a little more distracted, kind of mistimed the 1, 2, 3 punch. His army was a little disjointed as well, so that didn't help out either. I mean, MaxPax could have puppeteered that a lot better. He could have been the puppet master. We've seen that before, but not this time. Not this time, and since he didn't puppet it well enough, he's relying purely on disruptors to win him the game, which has happened. It's just that with a couple of tanks to help out, it really does make life easier for Spirit. Zealots once again in the natural, trying to get into the third, but some reinforcements went back home. It's really not a problem for Spirit, who has plenty of army on the offensive. He doesn't have to worry about, you know, reinforcing at this point. His tanks still anchoring the push. Although they're one shot away, 2 or 1 shot away from death to a disruptor, which is exactly what MaxPax will be looking for. MaxPax also, he does not want to give up, does he? He's trying to expand. A couple of force fields, slice and dice that army engagements. That was a nice defense. MaxPax trying to take a gold base. These are the probes that escaped that third. He does not want to give up, is he? But nothing is happening on Spirit's side of the map anymore. And while his tank count has been thinned and obliterated, actually, this last one going to go down, that still is not a good enough opportunity, I would suspect. Oh no, the Observer doesn't have shield battery to help it out. Oh no. Here comes the concave. Disruptors need to shoot, and they need to actually connect. So far, not so good. There's just so much Terran army. A shield battery overcharge will try and save the life of MaxPax here, but there's just so freaking much. A disruptor not going to pop off, actually. Gets killed just a second before it does, but even that would not have been enough. MaxPax will fall here in game number 2. So we head to game number 3. Kind of against the odds. Again, their history heavily favoring MaxPax, but Spirit does often get a game, so it's not terribly surprising. Seems like about 50% of the time he gets a game. Maybe less, actually. So, Spirit really is just, he's up against his worst opponent possible. Probably. Although him and Clem aren't having a very good time either. But Clem's just dominating all TVTs anyway. Game number 3 here in our last semifinals. In the top left for Psystorm, he is MaxPax. And in the bottom right, we have Psystorm's Spirits. The winner will be facing Clem in the finals. MaxPax has faced Clem now 3 times in a row. They face each other many more times than just 3 overall in their careers. And Clem has gained the edge over MaxPax, but last week was hotly contested, very much down to the wire. The week before that, MaxPax dominated, weirdly enough, because then before that, Clem was on like a 6-win streak. Generally, Clem is favored versus MaxPax. He'd be, I think, very favored versus Spirit. His TVT, incredibly lethal at this point. Not uncommon for him to win in the first 5 minutes of TVTs against even the likes of a Spirit, who's very good at the matchup. So I suppose no matter how this actually ends up going, Clem is the favorite yet again to win the European Open Cup, as he has been for months at this point. Some contenders, some good days, but mostly winning even easily. Maybe not mostly, but a lot of the times in the last few months, winning easily. MaxPax certainly the strongest contender. Spirit going to go for a 1-Rax expand. No shenanigans as of yet, but he has tried shenanigans every single game so far. First game, combat shield, tank push, all in. Second game, proxy factory, proxy starport, successful Halion drop into the successful 4-gate defense. That was the real important part. And then still had trouble, actually, killing MaxPax. In a game where Protoss loses 34 probes, you know, 12 at minute 4 and another 12 at minute 6, and then I've not done the math correctly, and then the rest, you know, at minute 8. That's supposed to actually kill. I mean, that's a severe attack in the first 4 minutes to lose that many. The first 6 minutes to lose it again, also pretty severe. And MaxPax made that look close. And a very safe, proper build so far from Spirit. As he grabs a bunker and a factory at home. Second barracks, though, is not going to go up to a 1-1-1. We'll be adding on 2 more barracks and then a starport. Or 1 more barracks. Wait, no, I've confused myself. He will be adding on a starport after he gets the Cyclone. Giving him, again, that more 2-1-1 setup for a Protoss than for a Zerg, in which he would skip all factory production. MaxPax is opted for a Stargate this time around, so it worked out very well in the first game. Able to use it to help defend against push. And while his most lethal games are his 4 gates, the ones that actually kill his opponent, he decided not to do it this time around. So Phoenix Colossus possibly, looking more so for the eventual Colossus push. What he tried to do last game, actually, after a lot more things happened. But, you know, that's what he wanted to do, abuse the Colossus range for a distraction. At the very least, you can always back away, especially if you have a couple of force fields. As they are, you know, ideally they don't pounce on you, basically. You have the force field, you have 3 Colossus beaming down on them. You have enough protection of the Colossus, they can't really give chase. I mean, that would have been the ideal situation. That's what MaxPax was shooting for last game, alongside the distraction that's caused the Zealot to do so much damage. It's just that he was a little uncoordinated in it. And I think he did underestimate just how much Spirit had defensively. The sheer number of medevacs suddenly popping out after it looked like Spirit was drained of them was already a big difference. But yeah, that's probably MaxPax's goal again here, to abuse that Colossus push. And this time, gonna have it actually work out the way that he intends. Phoenix Harassment's doing something, but not so much overall. Spirit is actually going to dedicate to missile turrets, which you don't always see. I would say if it's a 3cc build, you almost always see it. Definitely worth the cost of the missile turrets because you've already gotten away with so much. But with a 2-base build, it seems kind of personal choice, actually, whether the Terrans get the missile turrets. Possibly also considering how good their opponent is with Phoenix. And MaxPax is probably the best Phoenix user. Roddy might disagree. I don't know. But he's definitely the best Phoenix versus Phoenix player. There is no doubt about that. 100%. But as an overall Phoenix player, I have to imagine he's one of the best. Very, very active with them, that's for sure. And the missile turrets is a lot of peace of mind for 100 minerals. Just that this level, every little bit counts. Spirit did go for the 2 medevacs, but they're kind of stuck at home awkwardly. Kind of wrap arounds and boosts, I suppose. Observer sees them. Phoenix could go after them. The Marines are very far away. Unbeknownst to Spirits, that Observer just gave away his medevacs, and this is a very awkward push. Well, this is actually very, very awkward, isn't it? That shield party went down. There is nothing back at home. There we go. Now it's less awkward. I mean, that, a little less of a slam dunk. It's like the lane was open. MaxPax is going to go for a really awesome dunk, Jordan style, and then he kind of slipped. And I was like, oh shit, fuck it. I'll just go for a layup. It's fine. The 8 probes went down. And the shield battery, I mean, obviously less costly, but that was supposed to be a real perfect moment, you know? The Marines, without their medevacs, far less powerful. And the Phoenix getting the alerts from the Observer on the medevac positioning, that was almost perfect. Couple of Woodbines are going to go down just because Spirit doesn't have enough anti-air. The Marines that he does have still, I mean, they're trying to kill the freaking Phoenix, but yep, every last one got taken down. And MaxPax now feeling a lot more comfortable back at home with 2 Colossus and a shield battery. Very unlikely to just simply be overwhelmed because he's not paying attention for 1 second. The Marines do chase after the Phoenix, but are unable to catch up to them, and it looks like Spirit still is unaware of this very, very annoying Observer. If he did the same missile turret positioning as the last game, he'd take care of it. Oh, okay, good. He's unaware. Whew, thank goodness. That was going to annoy me. 30C is stalled out. Finally getting back to producing. Also, a big supply block for Spirit. Ooh, ouchies. Ouch, kabibbles. That's a huge one. MaxPax, just the fly buzzing around you while you're trying to play the game, man. MaxPax really setting up well, going on to 4 bases, 3 Colossus available, moving on to Charge. Got an upgrade on the way, a couple of Archons soon to be added as the Templar Archives will finish. Spirits. It's going to be detected thanks to this probe. MaxPax's army was already in position, and Phoenix are available to stop the medevacs from entering into the main, which I'm not sure would be a good idea anyway. With the Colossus so close to cliff walking, you'd be unloading into Colossus beams, so probably not. Probably don't do that. Upgrades will be evened up for a little bit. So both players have +1 attack. No second forge or second engineering bay for either player. Wouldn't mind dropping top of the 4th base, but there's not really a whole lot of probes to stop, so that's not the biggest deal. And the natural actually has a stalker and a cannon. Didn't realize he built a cannon to help out. He's gonna do it. He's gonna go for the drop of the main base. I'm still not sure if it's actually gonna be worth it. The Phoenix do not tear down any medevacs before they unload. I think everything got fully unloaded from that medevac, but a cannon so far is the damage done. A couple of, well, more than a couple of probes actually, as they were not pulled away. Colossus should stand tall, and the Phoenix will clear up every last drop of this drop. 14 SCVs were killed, or probes were killed, but 10 SCVs have now been killed. 12, 13, keeps on counting because the Warp Prism keeps on warping in. Spirit now in a lot of trouble. Did not find the damage he wanted with that drop into the main base. I mean, even economic damage wasn't that impressive, considering that MaxPax is on 4 bases. 15 probes is certainly not worth the loss of life. Spirit supply down in the gutter. He's down 20 army supply, about 18 workers. He's still dealing with the attack in the main base, which is going to draw him out of position on the front lines. I think he scanned for an observer, hoping that without it, maybe MaxPax will be a little bit shyer about moving in, but MaxPax is not shy. He knows what's going on here. Wouldn't mind do pop off. No detection, apparently, and the Marauders are trying to get that best concave possible. A couple of force fields do go down. Immortal actually kind of left, but not being target fired. Gets a couple of shots in. Doesn't really matter how that was going to go down, as it inevitably goes the way of the Protoss. MaxPax does take the 2-1, moves on to the grand finals to face Clem.